Okay, quick tutorial for how to import WoW characters into Unity and get them working with the Mixamo animations. So the first thing, let's get a Mixamo animation. Alright, so got an animation here. This one should work. Anyone from Mixamo is fine. Of course, modify anything that you want to change over here and go to download. It should ask you what format. Do an FBX for Unity. And 30 FPS with the skin, no keyframe reduction, download. In WoW Model Viewer, there's going to be some options to set, or at least one option on the export. It needs to be set to initial pose only export. And I think that's it. Then go to export model and export to an FBX file. I'm going to open up my Unity project and go into the folder where I want to save my character at. So I was putting all my 3D models, characters into this folder. So I'm going to right click Show in Explorer and go into this folder. Copy that over here to where I want to save it. And I'm just going to go ahead and export all the animations. Export successful, so when you go into Unity, it's immediately going to import that model and all the animations. Alright, now that it's done, there is going to be an FBX model for the character as well as one folder for the animations and one individual FBX file for each animation. On the character model, go ahead and bring them into the scene so that you could see kind of what's going on. And there's some settings that are going to need to be done here. You need to go first to the model. We'll set the scale factor to 2, and there are no blend shapes or lights or cameras. Visibility should not be important, and turn read write on. It's actually probably not necessary for the character, but I'm going to do it anyways. And everything else should be fine for the model tab. And then go to the rig tab and switch it to humanoid. And for avatar definition, say create from this model. And on the animation tab, we do not need to import animation. There's none on the character. They all have individual FBX files. I'm going to hit apply. Now there are some errors. There always is, and you can look at them here. And we need to configure the rig. For some reason, we need to click off of that tab and come back, or actually go out of the model and click on it again. And now that button will work. You can click on configure. So I'm going to press save, and now this is going to bring us in to edit the model, and we have to fix how the leg's messed up here. Now this could be fixed in the code for WoW Model Viewer, but I'm not going to get into editing the code at the moment so that it exports a proper armature. We could fix it manually here. And there's a couple problems. One is that character's not in a T-pose. And then the other is that it can never find the right leg, and it tries populating the left leg with the right leg bones. So give you some space to work here, and then go find these bones. We got the this is gonna be the left leg right here, and then we got the right leg over here. So the left leg, we could see, is set to the upper leg is bone 2. And it needs to be bone 10. So left leg, upper leg is bone 10. This lower leg is 15. The foot, this bone right here, got bone 33. The toes, 39. And for the right leg, upper leg 12, lower leg 19, foot is 34, and the toes are 40. And it looks like some of the bones are improperly assigned here. We've got this 72 is on the right eye. That's incorrect. And these ones are optional. So if it has a dotted circle, it's optional. If it has a solid circle, it's required. So the jaw and things like this are important. If you want to end up using mouth animations to make the character talk, but that's bone 50 for the jaw. Left eye Illuminati is 48. Right eye 52. The head bone should be correct. I believe it is. And the neck bone should also be correct. Now, again, the hands probably need to be fixed, but that's completely optional. All of the finger bones are optional. So unless you're specifically going to be doing animations that require individual finger movement, then I would skip those for the moment and back to the body. Make sure everything looks correct here. And it should be. I've only mostly had a problem, it seems like, with the that left and the right leg. So once all the bones are assigned and you have the green avatar up here, go ahead and hit apply. And then the only problem left is it's not in T-pose, so go ahead and go to pose, enforce T-pose. And that's going to put the character in a T-pose and also facing the right direction. And now go ahead and press done. With apply. And that should bring us away from this screen back into the Unity scene. I'm going to select the gnome and press F to focus on him. And I'm going to click back here on the model. We're done with the rig tab. We're done with the animation tab. And I'm going to go to the materials tab. And you could do this anyway, but I have been doing use the external materials, which is the legacy, and hit apply. That's going to create a new folder called materials. So at this point is usually when I create a new folder, and I'm going to move the animations as well as the materials and the model into that folder. And there's an FBM. Okay, those, I definitely need those. Those are the textures. So now I have everything in one folder. I'm going to go ahead and get those textures out of here. We don't need an FBM folder. But there are the materials here for the two textures. So I can delete the materials folder. And now we have the animations folder with all the FBXs, individual FBX for each animation. We've got the two textures as well as two materials that are assigned to the character. Now the standard shader doesn't look very good because WoW uses just a diffuse. So this legacy diffuse is the one that we're looking for. Legacy shaders diffuse. I'm going to put that on the body and the hair. And just to make things congruent, I'm going to do gnome female body and gnome female hair. Now this character is going to need an animator. It already has one. It needs an animation controller. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new animation controller. So on that game object, we can assign the animation controller. And now I should be able to double click on that and open up the animator. I'm going to put it down here. So we need to go to the animations now and select all of them. And Control A for that. And then go to the animate the model tab. Scale factors, it could be 2. It just doesn't matter for animations, because all the data that's being pulled out is the skeleton animation, so scale is irrelevant. And that needs to be switched from animation type to humanoid. And for the avatar definition, say copy from other avatar. And here is where we need to assign the gnome female avatar. So these are all the ones for the animations, so you're probably gonna have to scroll down to that. And this is the one that's from the original model. It just says gnome female 01 avatar without any underscore and an animation name, of course. So usually that's at the very bottom of the list. So select that and hit apply. Okay, at this point I'm gonna now move my animator right back up here, but we can find any of these animations. Just grab emote big, and you can drag it into here, either the FBX file or the animation contained in it. So the emote dance, most of these don't work. I think it's the later ones that do. So this is the default. So I'm going to right click on this one and say set as default layer. And if we hit play, okay, there we go. We can see that. Oh, she was working. So on the animation, you're going to have to go to. A beg wouldn't be looping, but the dance would. So go to the animation here and select loop time and hit apply. Depending on if you want root motion, you also may want to bake into the pose the root position for the X or the Y, or the root position for the Y, for the X and the Z, which moves this way and this way, of course, and the Y moves her up and down. And you might also want to bake in the rotation. So these 3 options may be required depending on if you're using root motion and what you're trying to do with the animation. So for now, I'm just going to stop and restart it. And the character should be working with the looping animation. We have already downloaded the Mixamo animation. So that's this Ybot shopping cart dance. So I'm just going to go to the I have an animations folder here and bring that FBX file in. And then on this FBX file, we could see that it's working. It has this robot here. And if we go to rig, it's switched over to humanoid and avatar definition, create from this avatar. Or create from this model. And then on the animation, this one actually has the animation built into the FBX. So leave this one the same, and then it's a dance, so it should probably be looped time. And this red is telling us that its X and Z position do not line up at the end of the animation to have a perfect loop. So as this animation loops, it'll slowly drift and drift away. So no loop match there, but that's not what this video is about. Next part. And essentially, because the model here has a avatar that is not messed up, we don't need to come in and configure it. But if we did, we would notice that it's set up correctly. It's in T-pose. All the bones are assigned properly, and there's no errors to worry about with the model that comes from Mixamo. Because this definition is all green and everything matches, we can use this animation with any other character that has an avatar definition. So because this has a humanoid avatar definition, and our character does too, the animations are going to be compatible back and forth. So if we go to the animator, which is for our gnome, and we drag on this shopping cart dance, and I set that as the default. So if I hit play, it's going to play that animation. But we're going to have to click done, which is kind of funny because I don't know how to get there. So I need to click the done button. So I guess I'm going to need to click this configure again, and now click done. And so, okay, I guess I've lost my scene. I need to filter this to scenes, and alright, back to my scene. Alright, because we've assigned shopping cart dance to the animator, when we hit play in our scene, then the gnome will now be doing the animation from Mixamo. And you can see that I think some of the fingers are mixed up, so in this case we probably want to go in and fix those individual fingers. The eyes are also fixed. So go to the character, go to the mesh, which is here, and the body is assigned. I think it's the first one. It's the eyes. Yep. So here you could create a material that's just invisible. So if you go to this first one, and I have one here called eye invisible. And it's just gonna, the eyelids are just invisible, so the eyes are open now. That's one option. So the eye invisible is using a shader called invisible, and it's right here. And I'll leave the shader on the screen for a second, so if you want to write your own shader, just copy that text. And the other option is going to be to actually find those eye bones and rotate them open. Okay, there it is. It's bone 58. So I never fixed this problem before. I always just put the eye invisible material on the eye. So, but yeah, it's bone 58, and it's about this far down the head. And there's one bone for both eyelids, which makes sense. You don't need the character to wink. And that covers, I guess that covers everything, because the character is using the Mixamo animation and dancing with her eyes open. So I'm going to re-enable import ADT world, which is my script for importing data exported by WoW export. There we go. I could start the quest over here, but we'll go ahead and head back this way.